Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Apex Racing TV's coverage of the iRacing IMSA Sportscar Championship here for round number 8 of the 2019 Season 3 Championship. My name is Scott Newton, and alongside me tonight, as always, is Daniel Late. Welcome, Daniel. We're at America, quite a contrasting circuit to last week at Montreal, but what are your thoughts heading into tonight's massive field here tonight?
Yeah, good evening, Scott, and to all the viewers tuning in. Massive change as far as track style and type goes compared to what we saw at Montreal last week. Getting away from the semi-street circuit nature of Montreal to pretty well a very classic open flowing circuit in Road America. So certainly a big mindset change that the guys have got to go through to get themselves operational for this one. And with a mixture of such high-speed corners and long straights that we've got here tonight, I think we're going to see some exciting racing all around.
Yeah, certainly. Had a huge sign-up for tonight, given the fact that there was 71 drivers registered for tonight's SOF race, which put that into a split of 36 in this top split and 35 in the second split, which is great to see as always. It's got 2 Daytona prototypes in tonight, which sadly is unfortunate given that size of field, but that's been hugely competitive when there's been a solid field. As always, we've got, I think, 19 GTEs in this field tonight, and we got 15 GT3s, so that's GT field is pretty much packed as always.
Yeah, definitely the GT field attracting a lot of participation. One guy we must give a quick little shout out to, unfortunately not able to make the race tonight, but Alain Day normally runs that Daytona prototype. Not able to make it tonight, but certainly looking forward to, I think it's Le Mans next weekend, so we'll catch him out there. But yeah, as you say, massive field here tonight. Looks like we got a couple of guys we didn't get a chance to see last week back out. Looks like Max Verstappen's back for another run in this one as well, but it looks like the times that are starting to come in quite now. Looks like we've got Tim Grieven just dropping in a time for him there. So the Daytona prototype's doing about a 1:56, so sub 2 minute lap, quite convincingly.
Yeah, absolutely. Typically, around a circuit like this, you'd expect that the prototypes would be about 3 seconds a lap quicker, as is evidence right now. Adam Pillow going to the top in GTE at the moment, ahead of Max Verstappen and Soto Muto in the GTE field. In the GT3 category at the moment, we've got Wayne Hewitt currently leading in the Mercedes in front of Nastya Sten, and then Alan Holgerson, series regular. I've seen him racing a few of the races in this season and potentially in the last season as well, which he also broadcasted. So great to see him back, and see the Zen Bishop as well has put in a time as well of 1:57.9 in the Daytona prototype. So both of the prototypes have qualified at this time, but we'll see whether Bishop is able to improve on his second lap. But,
absolutely. And I think a couple of key points we probably should mention quickly around this circuit that we're going to want to keep an eye out for here. We already mentioned, those 2 main straights up through to turn 1 and down off formerly turn 2, but in the track guide, turn 3 and down to turn 5, some very good overtaking opportunities. But then that big run you get out through the carousel, going to be very interesting to see how the tyres tend to hold up. Obviously, this circuit does degrade the tyres pretty quickly, so towards the back end of these stints, we might see these guys getting a little bit squirrely.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to take a look at the weather quickly, see how it is faring out there for everyone tonight. So we've got a 27-degree ambient, so it's quite hot actually, from what I expected, but the track temperature of 35 degrees, mostly cloudy, I think, out there for the drivers today, 73% humidity, and a wind that is southwesterly at 5 kilometers an hour, so not too much wind out there, but certainly going to be playing havoc out there as the session advances throughout the race.
Yeah, definitely. And the guys will still just want to try and do what they can to get in, tuck into that draft and try and avoid that little bit of wind as they can. But as you say, not a huge amount to really impact them at all. So we've still got a few more guys setting times with 30 seconds to go. And I think we're going to end up with a pretty interesting field here. A couple of guys that I want to keep an eye on later on tonight. Jackson Susan Harlow in the Audi in the GT3. He's currently provisional third on the grid at the moment. We've got Alan Holgerson sitting a nice little time here. He's only a couple of tenths of a second off. He'd done a 2:04, nearly dead. So the car working very well in that Mercedes, and Mercedes really dominating that GT3 field tonight.
Yeah, certainly good to see that the Audi of Susan Harlow has jumped up into the third position, but sadly not on the pole position for tonight's race. Hide that weather quickly, as I'm going to take you through the grid quickly. So Tim Greven takes the Daytona prototype and overall pole position. Alongside him is Zen Bishop. In the GTE field, we got Adam Pillow on the pole position and third overall. Max Verstappen in fourth. Fred Stanley in fifth. Sota Mutoy in sixth. Dylan Pereira in seventh. Mika Bahamaki in eighth. Dylan Scrivens in eighth, and Bram Van Putten in 10th. Slaven Koluka in the 11th position. Andreas Schmitz in the 12th position. 13th, Frederic Borges in the 13th position. Alex Millward in the 14th position. Jonathan Petrenko in 15th. Wayne Glue in the 16th position. Miguel Davila in 17th. Alex Costello in 18th. Thomas Hins in 19th. Robin Monster in 20th position. And Taylor Nadebaum in the 21st position. In the GT3 category, we've got Nasta Sten in the 22nd position overall, but crucially in the pole position for GT3. Wayne Hewitt in 23rd position. Jackson Susan Harlow in the 24th position. Alan Holgerson 25th. Jack Swainpole in 26th. Adam Hayne in the 27th position. Todd Hayne in the 28th position. Rob Penny in 29th. Christian Leopold in the 30th position. And the rest of the drivers are appearing on your screen as I scroll through them.
Yeah, and this being one of the earlier circuits that iRacing put out, we do get the benefit here of a full lap, so we will get a chance to see these cars rolling around, and it's going to be interesting to see the guys how they approach this, trying to save a little bit of fuel, maybe set themselves up to either shut the engines down a little bit on the longer back straights and save that bit of fuel, or just maybe warm up those tyres. Scott, what are your thoughts on tyres for tonight as well? Obviously, being a 2-minute lap and the way that this circuit does degrade the tyres, are we likely, do you think, to see any changes there?
Well, given that the GTE and GT3 change tyres separately from the fuel, I would say that both of those classes won't be taking tyres. The drivers will certainly have to be conserving as much as they can, but with the Daytona prototype, they will be able to, I think, change tyres as the fuel's going in. So it's hard to say really with the anywhere from about 10-second to about 15-second stops that we've been seeing previously over the course of the seasons that we've been broadcasting. So, but yeah, critical sections throughout this track, I would say definitely the middle sector where you've got turn 4, which is pretty much where we're heading up to right now. With Tim Greven, we see the Corvette bridge right now, and then especially through the carousel as well. That's certainly punishing on the left-hand side tyres, as that's a very, very long corner. I certainly want to get the pressures right for that to be able to have the longevity throughout this 45-minute race. Yeah,
definitely. I think probably the other one key corner that we haven't really touched on as yet would be turn 11, the kink. We've seen quite a lot of drivers go off in previous races through there, and certainly a corner that does demand a lot of respect and a lot of precision to get through there pretty well flat. And if you can make it work, certainly opens up a massive passing opportunity down through into turn 12 at Canada Corner as well.
Yeah, I think that with the track temp tonight, I don't think it will be flat, at least at the start of the race, but certainly as the race unfolds, we'll certainly be able to see whether drivers have got that extra downforce to be able to take it flat. But Yeah, certainly at the start of the race, I would certainly expect with the people being so close to each other that the lack of downforce will certainly prohibit at least going flat through the kink as they're going through right now.
Yeah, definitely, and that's probably going to be a little bit harder too with the other GT classes. Looks like the field has managed to separate themselves quite a long way. GT3 just coming through the back end of the carousel at the moment. GTE working their way through the kink. So all classes pretty well split at the moment. The Daytona prototype's just going through turn 12 Canada corner. So we should, when the lights go green, there should be a nice split between all three classes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think first area of contention will certainly be the GTE field with the 19 car grid in that field and also the 15 car field in GT3. I would fully expect that Grevin and Bishop will be able to navigate turn 1 as safely as they are going to as the pace car is about to come in for the start of the race. We'll be able to get that underway.
Go, green flag.
Yeah, both cars getting away very nicely. Greenman with a little bit of the early mind games going very slowly on the run up to the light, but it looks like Bishop's actually going to get the run here up into turn 1, and we're going to see a change for the...
Yes, great move from Bishop to get up into the lead, and we got our eyes in the GTE field at the moment. Adam Pillow has been able to jump into turn 1 in first position, Ferris Stanley in second, Sutamuto into third position. Looks as though that Max Verstappen has had a very poor start. He's fallen back to the 7th position in his BMW, but it looks as though that it's been a fairly clean start in the GTE field. In the GT3 field, we've got Andreas Smich, made a big mistake. He's right in front of this GT3 field at the moment, but instead is currently leading from Sisson Harlow. He's had a great start, up 1 position. But it looks as though everyone has had a fairly clean start, apart from Wayne Blue, who is out of this race.
Yeah, unfortunate for Wayne there, but looks like Sam Bishop also, unless my timing's playing up, he's falling a long way down at the moment. But yeah, Susan Harlow with a great move actually gets himself now up into the lead of the GT3 category, and he's only a recent styling too with IMSA Sportscar. So really doing a very nice job there in that Audi and setting his sights on the BMW of Andreas Smith.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Susan Harlow was a part of the TTL Esports group before their sad demise over the past month or so. But yeah, it's good to see that he's been able to jump ship to Altus Esports, and he's shown that he's got the potential to certainly lead this race at the moment. But yeah, we'll see how he goes throughout this race. So turning our eyes back up at the front, see that Bishop has gapped Grieven by about half a second over the course of the first lap. So great to see that Bishop's been able to hold off from Tim Grieven at this time.
Yeah, doing a very nice job there. These two, I think, are going to probably be very well, or very close together the entire race. Their lap times through qualifying very close, and that's normally a good idea of where they're going to position themselves throughout the race. Keeping an eye on the GTE field as well. There's quite a few battles going on here, and who's that going around? We've got Sudamato had a spin in his BMW. That's up at turn 1 or turn 3, I believe.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can get a replay on that one. Okay, so I was just a bit of contact with the number 3 car of Ferris Stanley, and that sadly turned Muto around, and yeah, he's got quite a bit of damage in that steering rack there, and I think he's just had to tow it back to the pit lane.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him. That's another early retirement. Not ideal for what he wants. Looks like Ferris Stanley is still able to continue, but he's got a mirror full of Max Verstappen behind him in the BMW there. So going to be interesting to see how he's able to hold on to the pressure there, and not behind or too far behind. We've got Shriven and been put in as well. So some really good little battles and trains starting.
Just riding on board Max Verstappen at this moment. Just seeing how his BMW fares through the carousel and the kink. So then he wasn't able to take it flat at this time. He's currently 4/10 away from Chris Stanley. Last lap was a 2 minutes 16.6. That was the first lap. So yeah, coming to finish up the second lap, I think that we're in the below 2 minute bracket. That's pit lap puts in a 2 minute 1.7. Gapping 7/10 from Bahamaki. Second position, Chris Stanley. Even slower than that at 2 minute 3.4. So that was due to the contact with Muto. This is where we are right now, turn 2.
Yeah, that contact with Muto has really opened up the door for Pilo to be able to extend his lead. He's currently 4.5 seconds up the road from this little battle, so he's got quite a nice little cushion on board for himself here. And Stanley starting to get real defensive here with Verstappen, and Verstappen down the inside. This is not going to end well, and he's able to pull it up just in time. Looks like Stanley did get a bit of contact, and as a result of that does run wide, loses a position and comes directly under a fire here from Shrevens just behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Putton as well in this battle as well, the 6th position in class. Great to see him back as well as series regular. That's Corluka in the background got turned. Must have been just a little bit of a pit maneuver. I'm just going to have a look at that back on replay. Whether he just run wide because it looks as though that no one was around him. And yeah, he just clipped the grass on the exit of turn 5. It's good to see that the BMW of Pochez being able to avoid right there. He's up in 9th position at the moment. So unfortunately for Corluka, he's back down in 10th position.
Yeah, Kaluka's been a bit of a series regular, so he's going to have himself a lot of work tonight to claw his way back up that field. As you say, he's down in 3rd or 12th outright and 10th in class, so a long way down from where he was. He's got a lot of work ahead of him now tonight to catch back up, which has ahead of him 4.5 seconds up the road. So if he's able to get down and in with the pace of that Ferrari, which we know is generally quick in a straight line, he should be able to regain some of that later on, and we'll just keep an eye on that. But the guys behind are certainly going to be very quick in the other cars, the Porsche and the Ferrari as well.
See that all Scrivens has had a bit of contact as well. See if I can bring that back up on replay. So it looked as though that Ben Putt was going for the move up at turn 1, but sadly was not far up enough into turn 1, and yeah, sadly Scrivens didn't see that and was turned around at the entry to turn 1. It was very, very close for Corluka to avoid and the following cars, but Scrivens is back up and going in 13th position. It's currently 1.3 behind the Trenko as this stands right now.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe not quite the best redrawing, but good awareness from all the drivers to be able to get through there. It looks like we did see a change. We didn't, unfortunately, get it on camera, but Ferris Stanley has now dropped behind Max Verstappen, so that's a change for 3rd and 4th in class, and Verstappen got his sights up here on for Mickey in the Porsche. These two looking pretty good. Last time by though, Verstappen nearly 0.7 of a second faster, so he's certainly got a lot of pace in that BMW at the moment.
Yeah, certainly he's matching Adam Pillow at the moment in the Porsche. Porsche is very, very quick around here, given that it's well, you would think it would be a high downforce, a medium downforce circuit, but typically when I've run open wheel categories here, it's actually a lot quicker to go the high downforce setup. So certainly great to see that the BMW Verstappen is able to keep up with the Porsches at the moment, but not going to be close enough to turn 1. Certainly looking up the inside, but not close enough. It's going to have to settle in behind and see that Bishop is fighting with Greven as well in the prototype category.
Yeah, and both those drivers last time by setting times just within 7/10 of a second or 7/100 of a second around the circuit, so they're very, very close together as far as pace is concerned. Verstappen down the inside, very decisive move, gets the BMW pulled up quite nicely, runs a little wide with a bit of contact there, but certainly able to get that pass done. Goes a little bit defensive and able to work that through turn 6 and get himself a bit of an advantage to turn 7.
Yeah, classic cutback move and dummy that Verstappen pulled on Vahamaki, and finds himself in the second position in class, 4th overall at this time. So we'll see how that pace for Verstappen is against Pilo. Pilo's been very, very quick over the course of these 5 laps that have been elapsed at this time. He's opened up a 6 to 7 second cushion over Verstappen, so he's pretty much gone at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And last time by, it was a half a second difference for their previous laps. So the Porsche certainly working very well around this circuit. Pilo doing a very, very nice job in getting that car all the most out of that.
Just going to turn our attentions to the GT3 field at the moment. We've got Nastia Stan currently leading at the moment, 1 second ahead of Wayne Hewitt. Alan Holgerson currently in 3rd position. They're pretty much under a second between each other. Closest battle in GT3 at the moment is between Todd Hayne and Adam Hayne as well. Not sure if they're of any relation, but yeah, P6 and 7 in GT3 at this time. Todd Hayne up 7 positions and Adam up 5. Biggest mover in the field at the moment currently is Andrew Rogers, as well as his Mercedes, who's up 13 positions, so he's had a great run from the start of the race.
Yeah, so they're doing a very, very solid job. One driver we didn't get to see who was previously leading that GT3 class, Jackson Harlow, looks to have had an off track. He finds himself back down in 4th in class at the moment as well. So once leading, dropped back a little way. With the pace of what that Audi's had out there tonight, hopefully we should be able to see him get back up the field.
I'll just see if I can bring up that off track, but I think that certainly if I can find it. But yeah, certainly unfortunate for Harlow. It must have been a mistake towards the kink or something like that, or the Canada corner. That's usually where people run wide and make an off track. Yeah, I think I might have found it. So I try to go too wide into Bill Mitchell-Banda. No, it just runs wide at the second to last corner. Luckily he keeps it out of the wall. But yeah, he's fallen down 3 positions from where he originally was.
Yeah, very good job there to keep that off the wall. Too wide through turn 13, not ideal to be able to do. It is possible to do with enough respect from both drivers there, but unfortunately not enough road for Harlow to get through. But the pace of the Audi looks to be still there, and he's slowly catching up onto the back of that group in front of him.
Just going to turn our attentions to the overall lead at the moment as well. Bishop under all sorts of pressure from Graven. This battle's been going on very much since the start of the race. Graven not able to get past at the moment, but their times have actually been very, very similar, to be honest. So great to see that Bishop, only an I rating of just over 1900, is being able to hold off a driver of Graven's caliber of over 4500 I rating. Yeah,
definitely. That's certainly no mean feat, and with the way that the DPI is performing at the moment, certainly looking every bit as good. And you know, it's not always what they say that the I rating makes the driver. It's certainly the amount of time that he puts in, and judging by how this car's getting around, you can see that that's evident right now.
Yep. Also looking at the battle between Stanley and Vahamaki. Stanley trying to recover from his contact with, I think, Suto, and then that pass from Verstappen as well, so he might have some underlying damage that was felt from that contact. So he might be just playing a bit of damage limitation at the moment. You can see that Van Putten has run wide at the exit of the carousel, trying to get all sorts of advantage onto the back of that Porsche. But those Porsches are certainly very, very quick in a straight line. That Ford not able to do anything at this time.
No, not at all. And one thing we do need to be wary of, and obviously these drivers will be keeping a close eye on it, especially through the kink, and that is they do have a 17-point incident limit tonight, so off-tracks are absolutely key to maintaining and getting through the back end of this race as well. So while a lot of them no doubt will want to push on, they're certainly going to have to be very mindful of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Canada Corner were pretty much one of the easiest places to pick up an off-track, certainly here at turn 1 at the exit there. Yeah, everyone pretty much respecting the limits there, so yeah, certainly one less corner that they have to worry about.
Absolutely, and especially with the way a lot of these cars now from the manufacturers have moved to a sort of more mid to rear engine, it's certainly very easy to get a lot of understeer in it. So setup really becomes key to help them not only get around this track quite nicely, but also being able to get that nose tucked in and getting off the corners. Just
yeah, absolutely. As Van Putten able to put a move on Stanley, and also Pereira also gets the job done on Stanley as well. So Stanley down 2 positions just in the space of 1 corner. See that Ferrari of Alex Millward trying to put some pressure as well, but it's not close enough at this time.
No, that was a massive move there by Van Putten to come down the inside. He come from a long way back and was really able to get that door wide open for Pereira to come through also, as you mentioned there. So great driving from that. The one of only a couple of Fords out in the field, the other one with Thomas Hinz and Robin Monster, both those 2 cars unfortunately in the pit lane due to some earlier contact, so we're not likely to see those boys back out on track. It's great to see the Ford getting a run out here tonight.
Yeah, certainly. Just noticed as well that Nadebaum was the first driver to it in the pit lane. It's actually quite early from what we've typically seen. But yeah, certainly the pit window is open right now. We've just gone 16 minutes elapsed as Greven is alongside Bishop at the moment, has got the job done up into first overall. So we'll see what Greven's pace is once he's been freed from Bishop, see whether he can hold on.
Yeah, absolutely. And both best lap times for both cars here, only 400ths of a second difference for outright top speed last time by. A little bit in the favour of Greven's, only a couple of tenths of a second there advantage, but certainly able to, with that, get that pass done. But he's looks to be extending a bit of a lead at the moment, up to 7/10 of a second. So working very well out in the front. Maybe the slightly longer run or even delayed run at going off to the front's really started to help him get the tyres into working range, and now he's just making the most of it.
Yeah, certainly. Potential strategy for Greven was to just save a little bit of fuel, given that we've gone 17.5 minutes elapsed right now, so we're very, very close to the off track there for Greven, but manages to negotiate that corner safely. He's actually opened up a 9/10 of a second gap at this time, so we'll see how his pace is over the next couple of laps.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially with the extra cloud cover currently over the circuit as well, maybe a little bit more that way set up for the car. Porsche there in the background, who was that? I think that was Pereira, getting very squirrely, and he's just lost a position to Stanley down the outside. Reversing positions here through Canada Corner, but very wide for Pereira through.
Yeah, Pereira actually able to hold on to that 5th position in GTE at this time, so good to see that that defensive move has worked to perfection. But yeah, Stanley tried to put all sorts of pressure on him, tried to look down the inside. I know that Stanley was very, very quick. The round that who's that? It looks like as though it was a lap car. Apologies for that.
Yeah, I wasn't able to get the number on that one, but good awareness to stay out of the way and let the guys get through there. But Stanley does get that pass completed.
Yeah. Yeah, just noting that Stanley was very, very quick when we had the Sim Racers Asia GTE Championship. I think that was the final round that I was in. Himself in the Porsche and myself in the BMW, so having first-hand experience of that Porsche being very, very quick, certainly know how advantageous it is to have around here. As yeah, Billo is currently got an 8.2 second gap over Verstappen, so that gap slightly closed in over the course of the last lap, but certainly on average has been at least a couple of tenths of a second quicker per lap.
Yeah, definitely, but not too bad. Still a very manageable lead. Looks like he's coming up on a little bit of lap traffic. I was able to get a number on the lap down car that we saw through turn 1 there. That was actually Thomas Hinges making his way back out in the Ford, so was able to clear those guys and let them get back up as well.
Yeah, just bringing up the lap time delta over the last 5 laps between Pirlo and Verstappen, as he's putting the next for the lap one, Lachlan McMakin, trying to go defensive on the turn 1 to prevent the Mercedes to overtake. That Mercedes is very, very quick in a straight line, but certainly doesn't have the downforce of the Porsche, so that's why it's just a little bit slower. So yeah,
it looks like he did run wide too through turn 1 as well, so potentially has called that a night as well. That's not him in the background there, but yeah, running very, very well.
Yeah, that certainly would have cost him a little bit of time, Pirlo. It's a gap under 8 seconds right now, but would have only really cost him about a couple of tenths of a second.
While we're at the halfway mark, we might quickly drop through all the leading cars and give the viewers a bit of a look at the cars out front. So up at the moment, Tim Grieven back in front from starting on pole position in the Daytona prototype, with Zen Bishop just starting to fall off the back. That gap now 1.6 seconds behind there. Adam Pirlo, we've just had him up on screen as well in the Porsche. Got a very strong commanding lead, 8 seconds now over Max Verstappen in the BMW, and Van Hamke in the Porsche there as well, further 4.3 seconds further back. And the GT3 cars, we haven't seen a lot of them out there tonight, but for the mid-action we have seen Najia Sten in the Mercedes out front ahead of Jackson Susan Harlow by 3 seconds, and just behind him we've got Wayne Hewitt as well. So that's our leaders in all 3 classes. We have had a few unfortunate retirements tonight. Looks like Tim Russell, Taylor Nadabum, Thomas Hinds, Sada Mato, Alex Castillo, Dylan Shrivers, Robin Monster, and Wayne Glue are unfortunately all out so far tonight.
Yeah, certainly unfortunate for those drivers who are the multiple laps down. I see that only really Scrivens, Monster, and Glue are not on the circuit at the moment. But yeah, Castillo is a good 7 laps down from the overall leader at the moment. So there's still people circulating in the hopes that there may be potentially other crashes or mistakes. But yeah, from where they are, it's might be unlikely that they'll be picking up any more positions.
Yeah, we just have to get a look on that BMW just behind Harlow. I think that might be who's still going around. He's actually getting maybe a little bit in the way here of this battle with the guys trying to get past Harlow and move back up, but certainly causing a little bit of issue there to Russell just. So certainly not what Harlow's going to want behind him. He's going to really need to get that BMW cleared and get on with it here. Surprising we're not seeing the straight line speed of that BMW being able to get through, and it looks like we might be able just to get that next.
So Harlow was very, very deep on the brakes and certainly held that position very, very well. Just trying to close up on who's that, Nasir Stan, who's further 3.2 seconds up the road.
Yeah, and having that BMW behind him certainly will be maybe impeding his progress a little bit, because he will be looking for the dive for Mutu to get past here. So certainly going to be wide, and we will see as a result those lap times for Harlow maybe be a little bit further impacted.
What might be a good strategy call would be to come in early to free up that BMW, but also it'll free up that Audi as well. But 25 minutes down, just under 20 minutes to go, so certainly well over halfway into this race. See that Bishop has jumped Groven as well, so whether Groven had a mistake or Bishop showing great pace, to see that Bishop has had the fastest lap of the race. See that Harlow's into the pits as well. It's going to be impeded by Mercedes.
Yeah, it's really closed up that battle there for second, third, and fourth, with Harlow getting the slowdown from the Mercedes.
See the lead two in Daytona Prototype. See that a couple more drivers have taken to the pit lane in GT3.
Yeah, we've not been really able to separate these two DPI very well stuck together for the majority of this race so far, and lap times for both drivers only about 500ths of a second, difference in outright pace. Last time by, we see that that issue with Greven did drop him down 7/10 slower than what we saw. While we keep an eye on this, we might just pull up quickly to the track conditions and temps just to see how things are going. Obviously, we're getting a lot of weather coming through with cloud, which might actually be, if anything, dropping that down for the. Yeah, it looks like track temp down 1 degree from the start, down to 34 degrees. Temperature still staying pretty steady at about 27, and that wind hasn't really changed much, between about 3 to 5 kilometers.
Yeah, certainly with the session time advancing, it's 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon simulated time, so that cloud cover still hanging around. Sadly, there's no rain currently in iRacing. What fun that would have in the broadcast if we had rain in the session, like we saw at the Hockenheimring on Sunday night, where coincidentally Verstappen took the win in the Formula 1 race on Sunday, which was great to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think they say rain's the great equaliser in motorsports. It really comes down to driver talent, especially with the variety of cars out there, and really can be a big equaliser. Look like Bishop coming into the lane for his stops, so we'll see what Greven's able to do next time by with clear track. But yeah, certainly rain very much anticipated for pretty much all members of the service, I would think, at this time.
Yeah, I think at the moment they're working on, if I remember correctly, it's Catalunya NTM V7, I think, is on the skip harbor at this time. But yes, certainly hoping that all cars in the service will be getting that rolled out at some point in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it certainly does. For the cars that do have it or are getting it, certainly does make a change, and it's probably the time we see the biggest rethink in setup work and how you get your mind around these cars to make them go the quickest. So certainly a lot of guys will be anticipating that. Looks like Van Putten has come down the lane for his stop as well. For Bishop, who was in with his stop, I'm just trying to get a read on the time. It looks like it was only a 2-second stationary stop, so not long at all for his pit stop.
Yeah, certainly you can see that the top two overall at the moment haven't decided to come down the pit lane. Certainly see that it will be 1 or 2 laps more before they'll be coming down the lane.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like too we've got Jackson Harlow's managed to get back up front in the GT3 category after his stop. We thought that he might have had a bit of issue there with the impedance of that Mercedes when he came into the lane, but has been able to get out back in front and extended his lead now to just over a second over Holgerson behind him in the Mercedes.
Yeah, I see that Nasir Sten has had a 1 minute 21 transit time through the lane, the 1 minute 4 stop time, which I don't think is correct, given the fact that the pit lane time of most drivers is between 50 seconds and 58 seconds, depending on how much fuel that they're taking. See that.
Yeah, definitely. And to have a stop that long certainly will impact your progress through the race. Looks like Pilo's come down the lane for his stop along with Verstappen.
See whether Vahamaki takes to the pit lane as well, and he is as well. Same as Stanley. Pereira looks at that's pretty much everyone in GT that hasn't pitted is doing so right now. So that will be everyone from so Millward is not taken to the pit lane, so he will inherit the GTE lead at this time, but that will be short-lived, I think, for the next lap or two before he takes to the pit lane. Also Graven and Andreas Switch, just to say that he's about to enter the pit lane, so we've only got 2 more drivers that haven't taken to the pit lane. Certainly expecting them down the lane this lap. Always Millward has made a mistake at the exit of turn, on the entry to turn 2. That has gathered it up.
Yeah, that will impact him here. You've got a Mercedes in front of him, which we may see a late dive down the inside. Thinks a little bit better of it, but he'll certainly be wanting to clear this car and get further up the field. Looks like the positions out front for GTE, we've actually had, I believe, a positional change with Verstappen getting ahead of Pilo. So has he short-filled that car? Obviously, we saw an 8-second lead just before, and now to a 4/10 difference in favour of Verstappen there. So we'll have to keep an eye on the fuel numbers with 13 minutes still left in this race.
Yeah, I'm just going to see whether Pilo was impeded on the entry to the pit lane, because that delta of about 8.4 seconds was pretty much wiped through that pit lane stop. So see that Pilo negotiating a GT3 traffic at this time. So, well, we know that Pilo is very, very quick over the course of the first stint. Certainly hope that he'll be able to close back up onto the BMW and have a cracking fight to the end with the last 12 and a bit minutes of this race.
Absolutely, and I think we did see him get a massive advantage early on with the spin there of Sotomutu in his BMW early on, which really helped extend that gap, and he was really able to maintain it with good consistent laps. And it'd be interesting to see, as you say, what he's able to do now behind the rear wing of Verstappen. He's got a nice toe here and able to start closing down Don't know that he's going to be quite close enough to get a dive through turn 1, but certainly looking to set something up as the guys make their way back down through to turn 4 down at the bottom of the next long straight.
Yeah, both of the drivers very, very close to that off track as well, trying to maximise the track limits as best as they can. Millward has decided to come down the pit lane as well, so he is the last of the front runners to take to the pit lane. Pirlo trying to look down the inside, but not able to pull it off, as we'll have to try and look for the cutback, but not able to this time. Verstappen holds the lead in GT at the moment. Bit of a entry oversteer moment for the BMW. See that he slightly touched the grass on the entry to turn 4, but see if we can go on board with Pirlo as well to see how this Porsche is faring for this track.
Both cars looking very nice through the back portion of the circuit there, through Canada Corner and up on the front straight here. I think if anything, Pirlo may be able to tuck that nose in just a little bit tighter, which will help him, but we'll stay on board here for the remainder of the... That was a great onboard perspective there from Pirlo, currently second in class. Has lost a little bit of time, maybe just a couple of tenths off the back here of Verstappen. Finds himself in an awkward spot there with a Mercedes through the King. And that's dropped him now just to a second behind. So this traffic through the GT3 field really going to start coming into play here for the...
As we just seen the Mercedes, I think, of Adam Haynoff in the background, 6th place. Yeah, I think that was Adam Hayden just falling off the circuit at Canada Corner. But throughout that onboard lap, I saw that the GT3s were very, very respectful of this GTE field, jumping out the way as best as they could.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's no point getting involved in someone else's battle, especially at this late point in the race. Obviously 37 minutes down and not really that long to go to the end of it. You want to just bring the car.
Yeah, so just quickly take a look at the battle for the final podium position in GT3. Wayne Hewitt currently trying to hold off Andrew Rogers, who's been the best performer tonight. It's great to see that he's up 16 positions from where he started. I think he started from the 4th last position in the field, so I don't think he may have even put a qualifying time. But yeah, to see him up 16 positions from where he started overall, it's certainly a great performance from Rogers tonight.
Absolutely, and we haven't really seen Rogers a huge amount in the IMSA series, or the IMSA official series anyway, so good to see him having a nice run here. And currently sitting, where is he, 4th or 3rd in class at the moment, so got a lot of work to do to hold off Rogers behind him, and Rogers likewise is going to really want to try and get past here as the guys come up 7 minutes to go to the end of this race.
Yeah, there's a bit of a discussion of how Pilo lost the delta that he had before the pit stop, but yeah, we'll be bringing that replay after the race. Given that there's quite a lot of action going on at the moment, we see that Vahamaki has had an off somewhere. He's fallen down a couple of positions.
Yeah, that puts him now behind Petrorenko in the Ferrari, and actually continuing to fall a bit further back. So it looks to be maybe a lot of damage on that that Ferrari at the moment. We've just got a replay up on board here. Thank you, Scott. We'll keep an eye out to see what's happened.
Must have been just disconnection or something like that. Must have been having some connection issues. So Vahamaki not on track at the moment. We'll see whether he tries to reappear or whether he is sadly out of the race. See that Susanalo has made up a position overall, so it looks as though that Vahamaki may have sadly throughputed from this race. It's looking very, very strong up until that point, but yeah, sadly the connection has bitten him and he'll be out of the race for tonight's event. Currently under 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate there, and looks like we've still got pretty much status quo here for the guys in the leads of each respective classes. Tim Grieven still with a nice gap at the moment of about 1.6 seconds over Bishop. Verstappen still got his work cut out with Pilo just behind. That gap unfortunately has widened out a little further, 1.4 seconds, and Harlow continuing to extend his lead over Holgerson now to 3.5 seconds. So the guys out front in each class doing very, very good work at the moment, and we've still got this battle with Rogers and was Hewitt up on screen. Rogers really starting to apply the pressure on the back of the Hewitt Mercedes just in front of him, and not quite getting the drive off the back of the corner, but certainly able to close up a lot under brakes.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if we can go on board with Rogers at this time. See how much of a draft he can actually pick up from the current ahead of Hewitt. Hewitt very, very close to the edge of the track on the entry to turn 3. That might compromise him a little bit. See that Rogers is applying all sorts of pressure. But yeah, certainly not able to get as close as we would have liked to attempt an overtake. But very, very close to the grass line entry, a bit of an oversim moment. That will have cost him at least a couple of tenths.
Absolutely, and one thing I did note too, just as the guys made their way down to turn 3 before the Corvette bridge, Rogers, not able to get up into 6th gear as well, so that could potentially have hurt a little bit of straight line, because he looked like he was right at the top of the rev counter there also.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to try and check in at this battle as we head up a little bit further forward, see that Corluka and Davila. Corluka's had a great recovery, finds himself in 7th place in class. He was at the back end of the top 10 from his spin, but coincidentally right here where we are on the circuit on screen. But yeah, Corluka, great to see him recover up into 7th position, 2.1 seconds behind Millwood, and a further second ahead of Davila.
Yeah, and judging by the pace too, last time by, Corluka's still got a lot of speed still in that Ferrari, maybe just a touch quicker than what we're seeing from Millwood just in ahead of him, but as you say, been a great recovery drive following those issues early.
Yeah, so we're just coming up to about 1:20 to go. I think we'll have one more lap after we cross the line. So that Tim Greven has opened up a 3.6 second gap over Bishop, so he's certainly found his stride. See that Bishop has set a faster second sector of the race as well, but I think that might be a little bit too little too late, given that he'll have to make up a good 4 seconds at the end of the race, at the end of the next lap if he was to win.
Absolutely, I think this middle stint after the pit stop, Greven's really been able to show what that DPI's got under it. As we see him come up here for the final lap, and yeah, he's got a very commanding lead. And if he's able to keep it on the black stuff, certainly should be able to come home with a very convincing.
Yeah, see they've changed the position as well for Wayne Hewitt and Rogers. So we'll just have a look at, we've got a bit of lap traffic up ahead, the 14th position. Is that McMeekin? And that caught him off, that caught Hewitt off guard a little bit, and that allowed Rogers through. So Rogers finds himself in the final podium position for GT3. So great move for him. Unfortunate for Hewitt, but he'll certainly be trying to come back and grab that final podium position. But yeah, we're just over half a lap to go for the leaders at the moment.
Yeah, certainly be the last one. Hopefully, the guys should all have enough fuel on board. We're just back here with Cole Lucas still working with Davila. A little bit of a battle here on 0.3 of a second with Davila and the Porsche looking to try and get a move done through Canada Corner. Not quite able to get that completed, but yeah, Luca doing a very strong drive here just to retain that top 10 and finish 7th in class.
Yeah, just got to bring our attention back to Greven, current overall leader in the Daytona prototype. Had a very strong race. It's a great battle with Bishop in the early to mid part of the race, but certainly able to stretch his legs over the course of the second stint and rounds the final corner, and he will take round number 8 victory honours for the overall race. So congratulations to Tim Greven. Second across the line will go Zen Bishop. Very strong performance from him. Certainly one to watch in the future. To be only 5 seconds back from Greven in the end. See that Susan Harlow in the GT3 category has managed to find himself back up in the first position as well. So great recovery from him. And he will take GT3 honours for round number 8 of the championship in the IMSA Sportscar Championship.
Quite a convincing win too for Harlow there, 4.5 seconds over Holger.
Yeah, Helgerson crossing the line right now. Was a 4.3 second gap behind Harlow, but final class 2 come across the line right now. Verstappen able to hold off Pirlo, 1.3 second gap. So congratulations to Max Verstappen, taking out round number 8 honours in GTE. Pirlo, what could have been, to be honest, lost that 8-second delta in the pit stop phase, sadly, but yeah, you got to be there at the checkered flag to take it. So yeah, Verstappen taking the win there, Pirlo second, Paris Stanley a little bit of a distant third, but and then you got Poches in the 7th place overall. I think that that pretty much rounds out the field. Let's see who else is on track at the moment. See that Petrenko's run out of fuel, so potentially see whether we can go on board quickly. Yeah, he's just cruising around in 6th gear at the moment, trying to keep the fuel going, but I don't think he'll get up that hill.
No, it really needs a bit of a clutch in and try and coast as long and as far as possible. But yeah, the ominous sign there of not enough fuel. And
Oh, okay, so you're on the new direct drive from Fnatic. There's a
Don't think I had the chat muted there, sadly. Sorry about that. Must have not noticed that, but yeah, it was very, very quiet throughout the whole race, but yeah, sadly that didn't pick that one up, so apologies for that. But yeah, it looks as though that everyone's been able to cross the line right now, and we will be able to bring you the final race results. So Tim Grieven takes the overall win for round number 8 of the championship. Zen Bishop finishes in second, only 5.2 seconds back from the overall win. Max Verstappen takes the GTE category win, 1 minute and 6 seconds behind the overall win, but crucially 1.3 seconds ahead of Adam Pillow, who sadly lost that massive delta of 8 seconds in the pit stop phase. Be able to bring you the replay of that. After the race, Dylan Pereira in fourth, and for Stanley in third. Frederic Pochez in the 7th position, Alex Millward in 8th. Slaven Koluka had a great recovery to finish in 9th overall. Miguel Davila in 10th. Jonathan Petrenko in 11th. Andreas Smich in 12th position. Jackson Susan Harlow takes the win in GT3. Alan Holgerson in 2nd. And Andrew Rogers managed to get the jump on Wayne Hewitt in the closing laps to finish 3rd. Wayne Hewitt, as mentioned, was in the 16th place overall, but 4th in GT3. Rob Penny in 17th. Jacques Swainpole in 18th. Nastia Stan, what could have been for that driver in the 19th position overall. They were winning at one point in the early part of the race after Susan Harlow running wide at the second to last corner, going too wide. I think that might have actually been a battle for the class win at the time. Christian Leopold in 20th, Todd Hayne 21st, Adam Hayne 22nd, Shane Edgar in the 23rd position, Matthew Crozier in 24th, Mika Vahamaki in the 25th position. I think he may have disconnected with about 5 to go, so unfortunate for him. Tim Russell in 26th, Lachlan McMakin in 27th, Thomas Hins 28th, Soto Muto 29th, Alex Castillo in 30th position, Bram Van Putten, I think sadly retired with 7 laps down, 31st, Jasper Pedersen in the 32nd position, Wayne Glue in 33rd position, Taylor Nadebaum 34th, Dylan Scrivens in 35th, and rounding out the field was Robin Monster.
moving on from here, I think next week we will see the cars out at Le Mans. So that will be very interesting to see. So going from the high-speed circuits here at Road America out to Le Mans. So certainly looking very forward to that. I think Scott just trying to get the link up here for the driver interviews. So we may see a couple of those guys jump in just.
Yeah, certainly. Just trying to bring that one up quickly. So yeah, link is in the chat for drivers that want to join us for a interview. That's great to see that everyone's jumping in for driver interview. But yeah, just quickly going to run through the upcoming broadcasts on Apex Racing TV. Whilst we wait for driver interviews as well. Later on tonight at 18 GMT, we have the BRSGT Sprint Championship for round number 8 of the championship at Mount Panorama. So one of those classic circuits, as always, we saw in the BRSGT World Championship last year, GT3s. think with Josh Rogers taking the overall win in that category for 3 hours of that race a little while ago now, but the GT is not running at Bathurst, so good to see that the GT3s are still having a run at Bathurst. Then at 19:15 GMT, we have the BSR MX5 Pro Series for number 20 at Snetterton. Then on Friday, we have the iRacing Le Mans Series for round number 8 of the championship, and that'll be at the new Silverstone Grand Prix layout at 19 GMT. SOF race, that'll be one of the official races like this is as well. Then on Saturday, we've got the Sim Racers Asia Formula 3 Championship for round number 7 at Monza. That'll be the Grand Prix layout. That'll be on Saturday at 13 GMT. On Sunday, we have the Aussie Mixed and Fixed GT Development Series for round number 8 of the championship at Silverstone Grand Prix, the new layout as well. On Monday, we have the Rick Attack Sportscar Championship. That'll be at 12:15 AM GMT on Tuesday morning for round number 9 of the championship. That will be at Mid-Ohio, and then we'll be back as usual next week, 6th of August, 10:45 GMT for round number 9 of the championship at Le Mans for the IMSA Sportscar Championship.
Certainly a lot of action upcoming, and some great racing at a lot of different venues that we'll certainly be looking forward to seeing everyone out for. Doesn't look like we've got any driver interviews as yet. Scott, mate, your thoughts on the race tonight? I think we saw some fantastic racing out there. What were your take out?
Yeah, absolutely. Red America certainly didn't disappoint, as always. Both as a driver and a viewer of live broadcasts here on both Apex Racing TV and on other broadcasters as well. Certainly great to see that Road America has always turned up the action, and certainly didn't disappoint. Tim Greven wasn't able to hold off Zen Bishop in the early part of the race, but certainly after that pit stop was able to stretch his legs a little bit and take the overall win. Just going to see what happened to Adam Pillow as well, because that was certainly one of the talking points in the YouTube chat today. If I can find it, which I might be able to bring up in just one moment's time. See, that's when he left the pit lane. Here we go. So that was when he entered the pit box. Here we go. So coming around the second to last corner. Certainly the camera angle wasn't the greatest, but it didn't look as though that he lost any significant amount of time on the entry, but yeah, to lose 8 seconds like that, certainly an interesting one, because it looked as though that the pit stop times were near enough exactly the same for both Verstappen and Pillow.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't see a lot of difference in the time between top sections.
Yeah, there you go. So he just lost the rear end on the power, and that allowed pretty much Verstappen to get the run on around the outside. Bit of understeer on the middle part of turn 1, and that allowed Verstappen to go through. So it was more on the exit rather than the entry. Just goes to show you how crucial that that exit part is, as well as the entry, because it's quite a bit of it's quite a difficult entry up the hill, trying to brake as late as you can to avoid that speeding penalty. It's quite bumpy on the entry as well, to note as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. So a little unfortunate there, but good that we were able to get a recap on that one. But yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to have any driver interviews tonight. So I think we might finish this one here, eh?
yeah, absolutely. So I think that will pretty much wrap it up for the IMSA Sportscar Championship round number 8. Can we get you live from Road America? Yeah, as I said, later on tonight we've got the BRSTT BRSTT Sprint Championship for round number 8 at Mount Panorama. That will be at 18 GMT as well. So look forward to you all tuning in for that one. Sadly, won't be able to due to time zone restrictions, but certainly looking forward to your company in an upcoming broadcast later on in the week. Certainly be sure to subscribe to the ApexRacingTV channel to be notified of our upcoming live broadcasts as well. Greatly appreciate that. But look forward to you all having a great week, and certainly look forward to your company in an upcoming broadcast.